It's almost the end of the year for 2017, at least for Melee. We don't have too much left. I know we have Don't Park on the tournaments like Don't Park on the Grass, Famicom Tipped Off, DreamHack Winter, and a few other events. But it seems like for the most part, when we look at 2017 here on November 9th, it's pretty much mostly done. We've gone to our conclusions and we got a sense of how the year panned out for us. And this is my first almost full year of being on C9. I signed in late December. So it's been about 11 months, but effectively a year. And I just want to just talk about some of my reflections as a coach being on the team and just recap and reminisce and also just kind of looking ahead. So to recap the beginning of the year, Mingo was on the Genesis grind after getting drunk, I believe, at UGC. He said he wanted to coach, and that's how I got brought on. Always have to remind everybody that I've been kind of in this player manager coaching role ever since SmashCon 2016. So for 6 months, I'd keep tabs on Mango just as a friend. I'd be just like, hey, like, do you want to talk? Hey, Mango, you should probably go to bed. It's like 1:30. You got singles tomorrow. So I kind of, played this loose caretaker, and you guys all know the story of how Mango at Big House 6, took 3 Red Bulls, chugged, his heart was beating erratically, and I told him to take a shot, which fortunately calmed him down and caused him to win the tournament. But going into 2017, it was very interesting because Mango started off on a very, if you guys remember, very motivated track where he started exercising, started saying like, I'm going to eat well, I'm going to practice, I'm going to grind. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll do whatever I can to match your level of effort and see how we can culminate this into something awesome. So Genesis 4 started off pretty well for us. Until Grand Finals, we ended up losing in one of the fastest Grand Finals, but we went 0-3, but it was still second place, which isn't bad to start off the year. We beat everybody else. So, it's something, to take away and, as a success for us. Unfortunately, shortly after that, things started to go downhill. March was February didn't have much for us, but March was a huge struggle because mainly because of all these weddings I had to go to. I couldn't attend to Mango, and unfortunately I couldn't be around for Smash Summit where he lost to Chudat, Plup, and Axe. And at MEG he ended up just fooling around because Armada didn't play, and at Smash Rivalries it was another like 7th place, losing to Axe and Chu. So it was a really rough stretch, and I remember everybody wanted my head. People were questioning what we were doing. And I think at that point in the year, it was like very stressful for me because you'd have all these backseat Redditors, you'd have people DMing me, private messages even, telling me like I'm useless as a coach, like you haven't done anything. And that was actually like really stressful for me. But I'm glad that we got out of that phase, although he lost to Chu again at DreamHack Austin. Even though that tournament stretch of like 4 tournaments wasn't really good for us, like I knew that after like every tournament, Mango and I were communicating more. I was discovering more of his routines, like what he likes, how he can prepare better, what makes him comfortable, what makes him not comfortable. We even consulted a sports psychologist to give some helpful advice to help in certain situations. So I knew that eventually we're going to get places. And to be fair, a lot of those sets were very doable, and it just came down to, well, hey, like, how do we make it so that Mango doesn't tilt? And we've just thought about a bunch of things throughout the year, different routines, sleep patterns, exercise patterns, food patterns and all that, even down to like when do we take Red Bulls, when do we drink shots to relax. And so I was just very observant of like what causes Mango to perform and what causes Mango not to perform. And one of the biggest breakthroughs we've had is minimizing how Mango could get into his own head. And that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses we've had over the year is it's kind of weird because Mango's an introvert, and so although he talks to the camera a lot, he keeps all his thoughts up here. So that's why if you ask him like a certain type of question, he's able to articulate it really well. And oftentimes you're very like, wow, like that's very insightful. That's because a lot of his ideas are brewing in his head, but he doesn't really express them. And the issue is that if he tries to train up and play too seriously for an extended period of time, these thoughts start building up in his head, and he doesn't get to flow into the game. Instead, he's in his own headspace, thinking about a bunch of things that aren't important to the game. And for example, at Genesis 4 earlier this year when he played Armada, just too many things were going in his head about grand finals, which caused him to get into his own head, and he couldn't focus on aggression, and he hesitated on certain moments, was just a moment too slow on certain instances. So that was one of the biggest things that we've improved on this year. The summer went well for us. If we start the summer technically from Royal Flush, we won that. We got second at Evo. Smash and Splash, we did so-so. We got, I think, fifth place, losing to Leffen. If I were to John, it mainly came down to the tournament started way too late, and we started practicing way too early. So Mango was already 2.5 to 3 hours into warm-ups, and that was too much. So that was a really great lessons learned for me, where Mango needs just roughly about an hour to start practicing any more before top 8, and it is just way too much, and he starts to fatigue. So I learned that the hard way here, and we won SmashCon. You got second at Shine. We experimented with Falco there. It didn't quite work out. Big House 7 didn't quite go well for us. I hate to make excuses, but I think that poop that led to that delayed, that led to the red eye and general lack of sleep hurt us a lot. And then we had DreamHack Denver and Smash Summit 5. I honestly thought, and Mango will tell you on the stream, that Smash Summit 5 was very doable. The Hungry Box set, the SD at like 20%, and those two close games could have gone either way. So a lot of people are saying, well, Hungry Box has the upper edge, which is true. But I think the good news that we have, going into the end of the year, is that everybody is doable for us in terms of winning. We can win tournaments, we can win events. Like Hungry Box is beatable, Armada is beatable for us, and all these games are close. It's just a little bit more could get us there. Leffen is doable, and I think the biggest thing we have, to go this year is that we haven't really talked about Mango's consistency. And if you look at his head-to-head data outside of Frame Perfect, where he was fooling around, his worst losses this entire year are to Chudat, and Axe. Like, if you look at it, he's only lost, outside of like the big six, he's only lost to Chudat and Axe. And to me, I think that's really impressive. And ever since DreamHack Austin, we haven't dropped single set to anyone outside the top 6. So that's like about a 6-7 month stretch. So I think the good part here that we can take moving into next year is that at least, even if Mango's not playing like an A+ or a B level, if he's playing at like a C- D level, at the very least, we got him to the point where the punish game is consistent enough that he's playing well enough with this Falco that he can beat almost everybody that's not in the top 6. Even though he has some close calls, some game 5s here and there, at least we're at that point. And, overall, I think we're learning a lot about even how to practice, and we're learning new things like every tournament. Like at Smash Summit, we learned, hey, Mango needs to talk when he practices. So he needs people that he could joke around and just talk out loud and just make jokes, make humor, like say some funny things or just trash talk and banter. So people like Shroomed or SFAT or Norwalk are very good practice partners because they're close enough that they won't perceive Mango to be a jerk, and he can kind of just talk and feel himself a bit so that the serious Mango is not all taken up by the time he starts playing his matches. We come up with some interesting character strategies. Falco's been good for us against most characters. We transitioned from Fox to Falco for Ice Climbers, and that's been working really well. Against Axe, the Mario pick on FD has worked wonders for us. Even though Axe refuses to play Pikachu, it prevents the tilt factor from Mango losing multiple games in a row because he gets gimped by Pikachu. So that's no longer a thing. And overall, I'm just really happy. I wanted first place for the end of the year. We didn't quite get there, but nonetheless, most likely Mango gets third this year. He put in a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. I know that we could push it a little bit further. And in the beginning of the year in 2017, we talked back and forth, and Mango, tell me, this is probably going to be my last year playing seriously before I move on to commentary and being a full-time streamer. And he kind of jokes around with it, but we kind of went back and forth, and we were like, and I think after Smash Summit 5, we were both, not satisfied because we felt the grasp of victory. Like the Hungry Box set felt very doable, and if we got left in winners finals, we're like, yes, like we could do it. And we're just like, you know what, let's go another year. Mango's down to go another year, so 2018 we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep pushing. And to be fair, 2018 might be my last year in Melee too, before I move on and get another degree in data science, where I'm going to be in school and work. So this might be Mango's last year, and this might be my last year doing Melee stuff. So we kind of want to go out with a bang. We want to win another EVO, win another Genesis. Like, we're pretty motivated to go into the next year. So hopefully we can do it. I know the potential's there. I know we can do it. So hopefully next year we can go back and, more than reflecting on what we've improved on, we can bring home some more trophies for Cloud9 and for the Mango Nation and for the family. So I'm excited for 2018. I can only hope that we continue to improve, we learn to get better, and we close out the holes and we start winning again.